Situated in the southern coast of China, Hong Kong has a natural deep harbor that big ships can berth. While the Western Industrial Revolution and rapid development of global shipping transportation started in the 19th century, Hong Kong already possessed the intrinsic advantages to become a global entrepot.
我哋香港咧有個非常之良好嘅一個海港啦，咁大家知道英國人其實就正正睇中咗我哋嗰個維多利亞港，咁因而咧就係即係攞咗呢個地方。
Britain launched the Opium War in 1839 in order to expand China trade. The war ended in China's defeat, and the Qing and British governments signed the Treaty of Nanking in 1842. Hong Kong became a British colony and a free port policy was adopted.
咁呢個自由港咧係有幾個意思嘅。第一咧，佢自由咧就係任何國籍嘅船咧都可以嚟香港嘅。咁啊，第二咧就係冇出入口稅。如果你係做生意嘅咧，係貿易嘅話咧，咁你啲船、你嘅貨嚟到香港去轉運咧，就唔需要交好多無謂嘅稅啦。
With the free flow of people and goods, good port facilities, a relatively stable political environment, and a reliable trading system, Hong Kong quickly became the most important shipping center and trading hub in the Far East.
我哋有船政廳啦，立例去管理嗰個海港裏邊嘅運作啦。咁另外嚟講咧，香港亦都係因為咁嘅緣故咧，就係我哋好多嘅航線咧，慢慢就出現啦。譬如美洲啊，或者同東南亞嘅航運咧，亦都係即係相當發達嘅。咁所以咧，就係喺呢一個背景底下咧，就係我哋係具備咗係同呢個北美洲嗰個喺航運上面聯絡嘅咁樣嘅一個條件。
At the same time, China's poverty and turbulent social conditions, as well as overseas opportunities, prompted many Chinese to travel afar to make a living. It is estimated that from the 19th to the mid-20th century, Hong Kong served as a transit point for millions of Guangdong Chinese leaving and returning home. Founded in 1870, the Tunghua Hospital provided for the Chinese a cross-boundary special service, which is intertwined with the history of Hong Kong, modern China, overseas Chinese, and the world.
佢將全球華人原籍安葬嘅要求咧，佢去負責咧係提供嗰個服務，係使到咧海外嘅華人咧可以返故鄉嚟到歸葬咧一個最後嘅心願可以完成。
The discovery of gold in California in 1848 triggered the first wave of Chinese migration to the United States in the 19th century. Chinese laborers from the Guangdong province joined in the gold rush and were later engaged in railway construction, catering, fishery, agriculture, commerce, and laundry jobs, etc. Chinese settlements began to develop.
我哋而家嚟到嘅咧係軒佛嘅唐人巷，我哋見到嘅建築基本上都係1880年代起嘅建築物。以前有中國飯館啦、雜貨店啦、藥局啦，仲有賭館。但係最重要嘅咧就係有一間關帝廟啦。
It had two functions. One was to provide housing for the new immigrants. They were mostly bachelors, fellows without their families. This second floor, where we are now, has a space for worship, and also this was their meeting place.
This is the old donation record of the Guandi Temple. From the large amount of contributions by worshippers from nearby regions, it is understood that the practicing of folk beliefs was very important for overseas Chinese. This temple was also a place where they seek spiritual solace. Situated in the gold motherlode of California, Fiddletown was once a prosperous gold rush town. As early as 1850s, around 2,000 Chinese lived here, making it the second largest Chinese town after the Chinatown in San Francisco. One of the 4 remaining Chinese structures in Fiddletown today is the TWGH store, now a museum. For the last 10 years, local resident Elaine Zorbas has been researching into the history of Chinese in Fiddletown. She has discovered important archives related to the Chinese bone repatriation to their hometown in the 19th century in the TWGH store.
One of the great finds from the TWGH store was the discovery of the first edition of a book that described the history of the exhumation of the bones, the cleaning of the bones, and their return to San Francisco, and then from there to Hong Kong. And Hong Kong distributed the bones to the village or to a charity cemetery.
Chinese traveled across the ocean and arrived in San Francisco, which was also known as Gold Mountain. Principal Port, literally meaning leading city, was another name of San Francisco referred by the elderly Chinese immigrants and is still used today. There are many long-established Chinese associations in Chinatown, and they have played a very important role in helping the newly arrived Chinese immigrants to adapt to the new environment.
佢哋嚟到咧，咁有陣時咧，佢哋冇地方住啦，咁佢喺呢一度住。咁樣嗰啲會館啊，幫助佢哋收集書信嘅，幫佢哋寫翻家書翻去報平安啊，或者有陣時真係病咗，咁樣離開咗世啦，咁樣邊個人照顧佢哋咧？咁就係啲會館啊，同埋啲宗親會啊出錢出力啊，幫佢哋去做呢個後事。
佢落葬咗遲10年之後咯，佢哋想運翻去俾佢安葬喺中國啦嘛。呢度有辦好晒啲手續，同佢喺墳場起啲骨，俾個鐵箱裝好晒，攞個牌照，然後講俾佢上船啊嘛，就運翻去香港先，香港落船就到東華三院嘅義莊。
我哋喺呢度所睇到嘅資料就係1856年就已經有記錄將即係喺美國死亡嘅死者運翻去中國完整安葬。
This is Tunghua Coffin Home in Sandy Bay on Hong Kong Island. It was founded in 1899 for providing temporary storage of coffins and bones for local and overseas Chinese. In some cases, the remains were collected by organizations or individuals. In other cases, Tunghua was entrusted to send the remains to the hometown of the deceased. It is estimated that hundreds of thousands of deceased Chinese were sent back to China by Tunghua in the past centuries.
東華義莊咧，其實佢最初咧係特別係對外埠翻嚟嘅嗰啲靈柩啊、骨殖咧係照顧咁，所以喺呢個東華三院嘅義莊規則裏邊咧，特別有一條第19條咧係寫得好清楚喺度嘅。佢話凡由外埠運翻嚟香港嘅嗰啲靈柩同埋骨殖咧，擺喺義莊呢度咧係唔收錢嘅。
According to the archives of the Coffin Home, Baihe, a small town in Kaiping, was once the receiving point of remains which Tunghua sent back in the 1930s. A 90-year-old villager still remembers a pier where the remains landed.
有時咧幾隻船諗住會做啲石口啊，係咪鞋棺？呢景觀話我鬼上船去見翻廟。 兩隻你咧開人家開種。
東華做咗一件好大嘅好事，因為呢啲冇辦法自己翻嚟嘅喺出邊過咗身嘅嗰啲華僑咧，最終可以因為東華嘅呢一個原籍安葬嘅服務，使到佢哋嘅靈魂同埋佢個骸骨可以翻到嚟家鄉，而完成佢嗰個落葉歸根嗰個夙願。呢一個咧係佢最大嘅意義咯，亦都係 開平當地或者係海外嘅嗰啲華僑特別去尊重東華嘅最重要嘅原因咯。
Nowadays, there are still concrete records about the history of this bone repatriation service. The coffin home archives preserved in the Tunghua Museum are the best evidences showing the role of Hong Kong and Tunghua in this service for overseas Chinese.
呢個可能係全世界獨一無二僅存嘅最大嘅資料群，係牽涉到原籍歸藏嘅。成個過程裏邊，東華都係非常小心啦去保存呢啲資料嚇。一張紙嚇，一個箱同埋所有呢啲訂單嚇，嗰啲咁嘅登記表嚇，都冇一張會遺棄，所以變得好大量咯。佢係延續咗成半個世紀有多嚇，一路都係不斷嘅，係牽涉到全球。 所以係一種好罕見嘅，非常之可貴嘅資料。
咁而家剩翻嗰啲記錄，唯一可以睇得到嘅，就喺東華醫院你哋嘅文物館嗰度。香港係扮演一個相當重要嘅角色。如果冇咗香港呢啲記錄嘅話，呢一段歷史就冇人知道嘅。
The Tunghua Group of Hospitals is the forerunner of Chinese philanthropy for more than 100 years. And the bone repatriation service for Chinese is the most special one among the various services provided by Tunghua. It embodies respect for the deceased and emphasis on cultural inheritance of the Chinese. Even today, the board of directors of Tunghua follows the long-established tradition to pay respect to the known and unknown deceased in the coffin home on Qingming Festival every year.
而家我哋又有飛機，又有 email 嚇，我哋好難想像到當時嗰啲信息點樣可以遞送。咁點解要做咧？咁呢種關懷嘅表現，我覺得係好難得咯。
過去我哋啲前輩花咁多嘅精神去做咁樣嘅事情咧，其實就係想表達咗一種嘅一種孝義。呢種孝義咧，應該係我哋今日嘅年輕人咧，都應該要認識。
幾十年前，東華真係幫咗幾多人，即係無論係佢嘅醫療、佢嘅教育、佢嘅福利，以至到即係我哋家下講嘅，譬如義莊或者骨殖嘅運送，其實都係幫咗好多人。